saying, calling out Utah fans, but there's a reason everybody's talking about how bad they are. There's a reason that all these NBA players are coming out saying that Utah Jazz fans are bad.
And we talk about behaving well and doing the right thing and stuff like that, just for life lessons in case any kids are watching this, something like that. But you also have to stick up for yourself, and to me that's a life lesson, that's a virtue.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always have to control your anger.
Yep.
Not always. There are certain times when you have to stick up for yourself. That doesn't mean you go off and you hurt somebody. What I'm talking about is you have to voice your concerns. You can voice your anger and use your anger in a constructive way.
What's going on today, guys?
How you doing?
Of course, we just got done. I don't know what order you're watching the videos in, but we just got done doing our March Madness picks, so definitely go check that video out. That was really fun.
And I want to say thank you to your grandma for being able to do that.
Yeah. She wrote all the team. I did the bracket lines. I had her write the team names in, based purely off the fact that her handwriting is way better than mine, so it's easier to read. But yeah, I'm glad she helped us do that. It was later at night. There was like a couple of misspellings, but whatever, it doesn't matter. We knew what teams
she was tired.
She was tired.
It just won't let her, but I mean.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into some more controversial stuff.
We're going to do a couple of smaller subjects today. We're not going to do try and keep the talk shorter since we're going to have to edit the.
But we can get into a little bit.
We're going to get into it.
So, you want to go with the NBA teams for? Oh well, let's do this. I feel like I'm scatterbrained sometimes, but the March Madness bracket thing is now to a close.
Yeah, it's closed now.
So you cannot enter. If you wanted to win a $25 gift card, well, guess what? Now you can't. So
it's the most condescending seventh thing I've ever heard.
Well, we got 7 people. We were hoping to get more, but now it's closed.
You know what? Those are the people that have the chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think there's about 7 people in it.
About 7 people in it, I think.
So I think the tip-off is tomorrow.
Yeah, the 2 other playing games are today. Games start tomorrow at 11. The first game, I think it's 11. It's right around that time. So.
But tournament's getting started here pretty soon, so get prepared for that.
Yeah, go watch my picks and tell me how bad I did. Comment down there and tell me how bad I did. But today we just got a couple things we're just going to talk about a little bit. I think we're going to get into the NBA story first, right?
Yes.
I found a kind of an interesting article, and it was talking about, can you have too much talent on an NBA team? And what the article ended up going through every team, but we're not going to go through every team. I'm just going to kind of talk about the basic concept of it. It was talking about how when LeBron went to LA this year, everybody assumed they were an automatic playoff team because he went there.
That's just dumb.
I'll admit his teams when he had in Cleveland when he first got in the league weren't great, but he had good role players around him. He had good defensive players. They weren't championship quality. That's why he didn't win one with that team. That's why he only got there.
Here, go ahead and go into the teams you want to talk about, and then I'll give my thoughts on it.
It's basically going to be the Lakers and Celtics who we're going to be talking about because those are the 2 most polarizing type teams. And of course now, the Lakers aren't going to make the playoffs. They shut down the younger guys on the team. They're not even playing them the rest of the season. One man doesn't make a team. When people talk about how bad his teams in Cleveland were when he first came into the league, they weren't as bad as people try and make them out to be. Because one man is not going to carry a team. Even Michael Jordan, who I believe is the greatest of all time, still had really good role players. He had Dennis Rodman, one of the best rebounders of all time, good defensive player. Scottie Pippen was another lockdown defender he had. He could score some.
Well, because you have to have players around you that can help feed you and go off of your talent. If a team with average professional athletes, talking about professionals, a team with average professional athletes that mix well together and play well together is going to beat a team with one LeBron.
Oh yeah,
because he can't score 112 points a game.
And the thing with LeBron is, like him or hate him, he's a great player.
He can make teams better.
Really good. I think he's a really good point forward type player, point guard, but he plays forward. He can pass. His dribbling's so-so, but he's a good enough dribbler to where he's not going to get the ball stolen from him a lot. He's athletic.
And you want to talk about Boston, too.
Yeah, of course, Boston, my favorite team coming in, people thought they were going to sweep the East. It was going to be, domination because they got Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving back from injuries. They've been middle of the pack, not middle of the pack in the East, but middle of the pack in the playoff race, 4, 5, 6 seed. Kyrie Irving, they've had some problems meshing this year, some problems in the locker room, some guys, chatting back and forth. Kyrie Irving's come out and said some stuff. Terry Rozier, their backup point guard, came out and said they have too much talent, which may sound counterintuitive when you first hear it. But when you really think about it, it makes sense. You can't have 12 men on the court at one time. You have 5. And if they're not meshing well and they're not working well together, this guy wants the ball or this guy wants the ball, and they argue back and forth about it. It's just not going to work.
You know, you hear those cliches and you hear and they get old and everybody always laughs at them. There's no I in team. There's a reason why people say it so much.
Yeah.
It's a team sport. If we were looking at just pure stats or we're doing a home run derby, then of course you want a power hitter that can just crush the balls for them can, like Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton or Bryce Harper. I mean, yeah, those are single, or bowling. Those are single.
Yeah, tennis, stuff like that.
Yeah, those are single sports.
Yeah.
But you know, if you notice, well, since you mentioned tennis, you look at Serena Williams and Venus Williams. They did dominate a little bit, but as you notice, after a while, when they started getting a little bit older, Serena was the top of her sport for a while. But when they got older, they couldn't win the doubles anymore.
No, they started struggling in doubles.
It's because you can't just have one woman or one man do something in a team sport. They have to mesh well, and that's why I said you have to have a good mixture. A bunch of average professional players can beat a team with one superstar. Yeah. They may compete a little bit, but they're not going to win.
Yeah, which is, kind of the way I kind of looked at the, kind of going back to the brackets we picked. Murray State has a really good player, John Morant. Amazing player. He's averaging like 25 and 10 this year.
Well, and like we said, he made the tournament.
He made a tournament. He's a 12 seed. I think players like that are good enough to win you a game.
Yeah, they're good enough to get in.
But I don't think they're going to go deep. If you don't have any help at all, you're not going to go deep. There's a reason Duke's the number 1 overall seed. It's not just Zion's good, but it's not just him. Their team is really good.
Because when you get to tournaments, and David Justice, I was watching an old Braves documentary. Yeah. And David Justice said it, when you start to get into championships and tournaments, the team with the least amount of mistakes wins. Yeah. Because in a season, you can make mistakes
and still find a way to pull out wins.
And you're still going to have some wins here and there. Yeah. That's going to get you in the tournament. Yeah. Just like you said, John Morant with Murray State, they're going to. They had enough to get into the tournament. Yep. But do they have enough to make the few amount of mistakes needed,
make like a deep run,
like Duke, that has an elite coach, or Tom Izzo with Michigan State, that has an elite coach, and they have an elite player, but they also have elite players surrounding that elite player. Yeah. So it's a team. And Zion, yes, he's a great player, but the team wouldn't be great with just him.
Duke has arguably the 2 best players in the country. R.J. Barrett's probably the 2nd best player.
Well, and look at Kansas. Look at Kansas and what's happening with them.
Yeah, after they lost their 2 best players.
They're starting to struggle a little bit, and it's the first time in 14 years they won the national championship. So now that we're starting to talk about college basketball, let's get into something that's a little bit infuriating. Yes. I'm starting to get sick of Utah.
I'm sick of the Utah basketball. It's been happening. Another incident happened. It was a college game this time. It was the Nevada-Utah State. They were playing for the conference championship. Utah State won. Okay, fine. They need to stop fans from charging the court, charging the field in athletic events.
There's something wrong with the Utah. There's something wrong with the Utah organization, or something that has to do with basketball.
I don't know what
it is. There's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with the fans. There's something wrong with the state. There's something wrong with the culture. There's something wrong with the school. Could be all of it. There's something wrong with Utah in general and how it deals with certain. It may just be basketball, but how it deals with certain competitions in certain arenas with certain people.
And look, I don't like saying, calling out Utah fans, but there's a reason everybody's talking about how bad they are. There's a reason that all these NBA players are coming out saying the Utah Jazz fans are bad.
And we talk about behaving well and doing the right thing and stuff like that, just for life lessons in case any kids are watching this, something like that. But you also have to stick up for yourself, and to me that's a life lesson, that's a virtue. Mm-hmm. You don't always have to control your anger. Yep. Not always. There are certain times when you have to stick up for yourself. That doesn't mean you go off and you hurt somebody. What I'm talking about is you have to voice your concerns. You can voice your anger and use your anger in a constructive way.
Did the Westbrook incident, did he say something a little over the top? Maybe. But the guy, you get tired of it, and you get tired of hearing it.
Here's what I'm getting at, and sometimes I start getting a little excited and I cut James off a little bit, but here's, you can do that to me, it wouldn't bother me, but here's what I'm getting at. Whitlock had a point one time when I was watching them, they were talking about racism, and they were talking about how some of the players, what was it Ole Miss? where the players knelt down on the.
Yeah.
I don't agree. You talk about this. I don't care. I don't agree with kneeling in the national anthem. However you want to get into that, I don't. You know, we're not going to get into that. What I'm getting into is the players knelt down. They did it because they were sticking up for their players.
They did it as a response. While I didn't agree with them doing it,
but I understood
the reason they did it. I got why they did it. It was the Ole Miss basketball team. It was, I think, towards the end of the season when it happened.
And it wasn't in response to the flag. A lot of the players have been doing that here recently in front of the flag, in front of the national anthem. It was because of the way some of the fans, again, don't understand it. I'm starting to go into fan responsibility, and it's not players right now.
Well, that's what I was going to get into. I'm sick of players being held fully responsible for their actions, and fans aren't.
Here's what Whitlock's had a point to, and here's my point. If you're angry and you want to voice your opinion and you want to voice your concern, there is a way to do it constructively.
Yeah.
And here's what Whitlock said. Instead of kneeling, or instead of getting mad and doing something in just a derogatory way,
yeah,
you shine above other people. And there is nothing that angers somebody more that is an absolute fool, like these racists or these Utah fans. I don't know if the Utah fans are racist.
I don't know about that.
I'm not calling them racist.
But the guys that were on the Ole Miss campus.
I'm talking about those people that are racist.
Yeah, those guys.
And it doesn't mean that just because they had a Confederate flag didn't make them racist.
Well, no,
but it was what they were doing.
Stuff they were doing, yeah.
Here's what I'm getting at. If somebody is against you, somebody hates you, don't let somebody's words or their hate towards you affect how it changes your life. Now, eventually it wears on you. You're going to react to it. You're human. It's going to happen. You're going to make mistakes. But if you shine above those other people and you rise above their station in society, and you become a Whitlock, and now you have your own station, you have your own personality, and you're a person that they hate, but you're above them and you're making more money, guess what? They hate themselves now because they hated you, but now you're better than them.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of who was the track guy back in the 40s?
Oh, where Hitler showed up.
Yeah, and the Olympics was there. Yeah. Hitler showed up. It was a black American. It was Jesse Owens, I think, wasn't it?
One of the fastest,
best athletes ever. And as soon as he won that race, Hitler left. He didn't want to stay.
Well, Hitler wanted to shake his hand, I think, and I don't think Jesse Owens wanted to. But I think that might have been before, something like that. Maybe that was a different story I heard. But yeah, I remember what you're saying. And he got mad because Hitler was white supremacist.
Well, it's about as white supremacist as you
can
get.
He was an evil piece of trash, and he didn't like that somebody of a different color won. Yeah. And it's because he was... That's what I'm getting at. If you're mad at what people view you as, beat them, but not physically.
Yeah, go out and succeed.
Beat them in real life.
Nothing hurts them more. You can beat them up, but they're not going to care about that. But if you succeed in life and become successful, that's going to hurt them in the long run more than anything.
And it makes you feel better. It's a wholesome win.
It makes you feel better about yourself, yeah.
You did something that didn't require dirty play or something disgusting. And in this player's defense, I'm not saying this guy was completely wrong. In this player's defense, and I've done things like this.
Yeah.
And this player's defense, I've been at games where people have threatened to kill me or told me I was worthless. You need to go die, stuff like that. I'm starting to get into fan responsibility. And if you're attacking players physically on the court because the team you support is not your team, you didn't play.
Yeah, you didn't. I've always said that. You didn't play, the team played. You just support the team. If the 49ers win the Super Bowl, I didn't win the Super Bowl. My team won the Super Bowl. I can celebrate my team winning the Super Bowl, but I didn't. I wasn't a part of that.
But I'm just saying, you rise above other people, and I think that was a good point that Whitlock had to say. And oh man, I can't remember his name. Who's the guy that talks? Wiley.
Marcellus Wiley.
Wiley, who I also like. He was getting a little heated, and I understood everybody's viewpoints. You know, you view things differently. Certain symbols mean different things to different people. What I liked about their discussion, even though I had disagreements with what some of maybe what Wiley said, and maybe even a little bit of what Whitlock said, it's what I like is we need to get back into a point in society now where we can have a discussion with one another,
where we don't have to agree,
where we don't have to agree, and people don't think that you're calling them stupid because you didn't agree, or people think
have different views on
things. And we need to get away from the hate. People may not agree with Kanye West.
There's way too much hate in the world.
But he did have a point. Instead of hating on one another, Can we not get into a point in society where we try loving on one another?
You know, the thing Kanye West did with the Donald Trump stuff, I don't even know how much of it was actually about him supporting Donald Trump. It was just about him saying people should be allowed to have a different view on things and be allowed to believe what they want to believe.
That's the point, and we've reached a point of hysteria right now. Me and you are like in between.
Yeah.
We want to talk about politics. Me and you are like centrists when we
Big
get
time.
to things.
Yeah, 'cause I'm with certain people on the left, with some things on the right. Depends on what it is. But I'm not overboard with things. I don't go crazy.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get at. There is a level of hysteria in society right now, and it's not just America. It's starting to reach all over the world, and people are behaving in extremes now.
Yeah.
And it's starting to bother me a little bit.
It's starting to become violent, which you don't want.
And I'm starting to become a little infuriated myself, because I see things and the way things are happening in society, and I see people being attacked over things that mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And maybe I shouldn't get into this, but you talk about Captain Marvel, things like that. I have no problem with a strong female. Love Ripley from the Alien. I love Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I had no problems with either of those movies. Scarlett Johansson's one of the prettiest.
The Alita Battle Angel movie is doing really good. It has a main female character.
But Captain Marvel is not making as much money as it should.
They'll try and tell you it is.
Based on the budget, but she came out and said she hated white men specifically. She came out and said that.
That's not something we're making. She said it. You can go look it up. You can find clips of it.
You can reserve your opinion to yourself, or you can leave it in the comment section. Don't really care.
And she's white.
As long as it's not derogatory, I don't care. But when you have an elitist mentality, doesn't matter what you are or who you are, if you have an elitist mentality, I watched her interview with Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
She acted like she was above him.
She did.
And she's a person. I don't care what you achieve in life.
Yeah.
You remain humble, and you remember what you came from. And maybe she was spoon-fed in life. I don't know. Maybe she didn't have a humble bone in her body.
Who knows?
I don't really care. But if you're that elitist above other people, then you don't deserve what you have. And people voiced their opinion by a lot of people not going to see the movie.
Yeah.
And it didn't make near as much money as a lot of the other Marvel movies did.
Nope.
And people could tell you, well, it's breaking box office records. Well, that's because it's a Marvel movie. And if you look at
if it didn't have the name Marvel attached to it, it wouldn't even be close to
and it has the end game behind it. It has Thanos behind it. It has the Avengers behind it. And you look at a lot of the movie theaters, something a little fishy going on, half of it's empty.
Yeah.
In a lot of the movie theaters. And
these are managers at movie theaters saying stuff like this. People are taking pictures.
And that's the first weekend. Our point is,
I know this went deeper than we originally planned.
Our point is, if people hate you, rise above them by being better than them.
Yeah.
Don't go out and attack them. And the police officer was going after the player because the player punched something. He was angry. I don't blame the player. I blame the fans going out there and being pieces of trash towards somebody for no reason.
Even if you charge the court, go celebrate with your team. Why are you messing with other people?
Not only that, he's a kid, man. He's in college like these other college idiots. And the police officer's going up to this kid going, where's this kid at? No, dude.
The coach told him too, if you watch the footage, coach said, you're not going into our locker room. He said, we're going to get dressed and we're leaving. That's all.
And I applaud the coach for sticking up for his players. And you have to stick up whether or not you agree.
If the guy had fought the fan back and actually hit somebody, I could kind of understand it. I get it then. But he didn't. He got shoved. He got stuff said to his face that shouldn't have been
I thought he did a pretty good job controlling himself.
Originally, he went to the locker room. Everybody went. And then all of a sudden, it was kind of funny when you watch the footage because they had like a security camera in the hallway. You just see him go. He just takes off sprinting. He's trying to get back out there.
Not only that, he was able to control himself enough to where he went back into the tunnel.
Yeah.
He went back. He got away from all of it.
Yeah.
He controlled himself enough to do that. So I applaud him. I applaud the coach. I'm starting to think people in basketball have more sense in dealing with controversial issues than other sports.
It's starting to seem like.
Baseball's starting to get weird. Soccer hadn't had anything really here recently.
Just rule stuff. But
yeah.
Football is
starting to get on my nerves.
NHL. I don't know. Sports are just different than they used to be.
Baseball's handling things with their rule changes. I don't know. I don't know.
Like I said, I know this went a little bit deeper than we thought it was going to go, but you know what? Sometimes you have to talk about issues like that whenever stuff comes up.
You have to.
You can't stay silent.
You have to discuss things.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to discuss things and don't live in your little hyper chamber.
Yeah.
And be able to talk with things with people.
Yep.
If you want to debate, fine. I can discuss things with you. As long as you don't call me stupid, or as long as you don't act like you're better than me, it's completely fine. But, I mean, you know, you have to be willing to talk about things. Anyway, guys, that's it with Cody and James Comments at Sports. Our bracket challenge is now to a close.
Yeah.
The tournament's getting ready to start.
Yep.
Just always make sure to what?
Go ahead.
Always make sure to like, subscribe,
hit that notification bell.
leave us a comment, and
check out our bracket video when we pick the bracket.
Yes, and we'll be up on ESPN soon doing that. And
have a good day, I guess.
Y'all have a good day.
Yep.